What up, everybody? Sun Diesel here. Gonna be tying up the hybrid variant here. If you can see it on my big fat fingers, I call it that because there's so many different ways that you can tie this, and so many different modifications you can do. So I'm starting with a Stealth C12. I've got a hairline tungsten gritty bead on there, so it gets down quick. I'm using some nano silk in a plum color maybe. So let's go ahead and get that thread started. I'm just going to work my way past the point, coming down the bend of the hook, and find my scissors. We'll go ahead and snip that out. And I'm going to be using for the tail some of this Nature Spirit premium partridge. It's bleached, and the way I've been tying in my tails is I'm going to prep the feather. If you can see this, it's looking good on what I'm looking at, but the screen's a little different. So you can see there, I've got some, this side of the feather's a little damaged, but we'll just make it work. It's for the tail. And so I'm going to take, and I want to have about 5-6 fibers on each side. I just kind of cut out the tip so it forms a V, like so. And I'll show you why I like doing it this way. So I'm just going to lay that stem on the back, the shank of the hook, kind of tie with some loose wraps the stem, and by keeping my fingers pinched here on the left, I'm going to pull with the right and get those fibers to the length that I want. Now I'm going to, while keeping that stem on the top of the shank of the hook, tie it in, work my way back, getting a little tighter, and really securing those fibers in as I get back to my tie-in point. You'll notice they just stay right on top, and super secure, super durable. Snip that out. Now we're going to be tying in a bunch of about 3 materials. We're going to be tying in some 6X Tippet Power Flex first, because I'm going to be counter ribbing this particular fly, and we'll secure that, and done. Next is we need to tie in some pheasant tail fibers, and I chose for this one blue because we're just trying to be as crazy as possible tonight. And I'm just going to tie them in about here. Now the taper on this fly is actually going to be formed with some of the product D-rib, vinyl rib, and I'll explain to you how we're going to do that. But we got that tied in. Now I've got this vinyl rib in fluorescent pink made by UTC. Going to go ahead and just tie in a little bit of it right there and really crank down on it. And now we've got to cover this because the vinyl rib is a little bit transparent. Okay, it's a lot transparent, but I selected it in fluorescent pink, and this nano silk is about the same color, if not a little darker. Hopefully that will go through. But for most of the flies I've been tying up for personal fishing, I've been using a yellow or a green D-rib, and black, orange, or rust as the pheasant tail to mimic some of the stuff around here. Now as I start my wraps with this D-rib, I am pulling on it super tight. I'm not pulling at the end, I'm just kind of stretching it a little bit right there. You saw that as I come up and around, so that it's really tight there. And now I'm about 50% on my tension, and I'm working my way towards 75, and I'm about 0%. I'm just laying it on right now, just to build a taper that way with this phenomenal lifelike bug characteristics of synthetic materials that I don't know where I'm going with that, but it sounded like I was going somewhere. So we'll snip that out. Now comes the super fun part. How do we keep this on the top? I pinch it as I lay it down with my left hand, hold it in place, do a super loose wrap, do a second one, kind of make sure it's still on top, and then give a little crank, just a little bit more. And it's on top now, but we're going to counter rib it with our 6X tippet, and it's going to want to walk on us. So I'm doing a first wrap. As I come up and over, I hold the tension down, and I kind of held the fibers in place with my left hand. I'm not so concerned with the side that's on the other side of the hook, because I'm wrapping towards me, which the fibers are going to want to walk across this D-rib towards me, not the other way around. And we kept it on top. We'll go ahead and secure that with a wrap in front. I lost it, but we'll do a wrap behind again. And we've got a stray pheasant tail fiber that doesn't want to cooperate this evening. But we'll snip that, tip it out. Now I want a little bit of extra flash, and so I'm just tying in a large piece of Mirage tinsel, and I'm going to tie it behind the pheasant fibers and kind of pull it so there's not a ton of bulk. And we want about 1/8 of an inch, so that we'll have room for another synthetic material that I really love and appreciate, and that is the straggle string. So I'm going to be tying this with a UV SF 8650.3249756 color, or purplish as I like to describe my colors. And we'll tie that in and leave our thread up towards the front. Now I don't want to add too much bulk, but I like getting lots of these super buggy UV fibers kind of going everywhere, and so I'm kind of going back and forth. That was a good one. And then right as I get towards the end, I kind of pull as many of them back without pinching my finger too bad in the hook, and I'll secure that where I can see it on my side with wrap behind, wrap in front, and snip it out. Now you can try and mold these fibers every which way you want, but I found the most effective ways, I'm just cutting out the ones on top and kind of shaping it so they go out, and so they're going down. Getting all the stragglers taken care of. I'm going to fan this out just a little bit to create a back. Do a loose wrap there, give it a little tension, come up and over. That's pretty good. Let's do one in front just to hold it all in place. We'll snip out these fibers and come up and over with the tinsel. You don't need to put this on, but I'm trying it just to add a little bit more flavor and variety. And we'll get that. That's nice and money. Normally I snip it from the side, but the camera's in the way. So we'll whip finish this bad boy with 1, 2, 3, 4. I like that. Snip it out. And I'm just going to put a small dab of UV Loon Thin. Cure it. And there we go. Like I said, you can tie this in a bunch of different colors. You can sub out materials, but